guys, and thanks for joining the B Team, where we talk about all things Bravo. Today, Kayla and I are going to be talking about The Bachelor, the last episode, what we think is going to go down, and we'll just touch base. So let's get into it. Last episode, what were your thoughts with Ariel?
Well, first I want to touch on, we know that Bachelor is not Bravo.
Oh, yeah.
But it starts with a B, so it's fine.
Right.
Yeah. Ariel's always been kind of a hard read for me. I was actually listening to a different podcast, not to steal their thunder, but they made a good point in terms of the fact that Ariel feels smarter than every other person there, which gives her kind of this like air of like being a little bit pretentious. And I don't think that's what she like means to come across as, but I do think she needs someone maybe a little bit more intellectual than Zach.
Yeah. I agree. Okay. When I say I like or don't like, it's basically just like I like her. I think she's like seems like a great person, but I don't know about their connection. It seems like very weird.
Yeah.
Or like it's like two smart people are like too smart, and like one person has to be dumb in the relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like who's it gonna be? And then but I like Ariel, and I like how she's like very confident, and she's not with like the drama, but also like that's why we're watching.
Very true. Which actually I will say this, I fully expected her to go home. I fully expected her not to make it to hometowns. And for when he chose her over Kat, I was shocked.
Were you shocked?
I was. Well, here's the thing with Kat. I don't like her anymore. I feel like she's been acting
ratchet.
Yeah, like
ever since she did that thing to Charity.
Yes.
I was like, ooh.
She like can't get it under control. And I also think it's interesting, like going back to like when Christina was on the show.
Yes.
They all got so mad at her for acting that exact same way that they're all acting now, which to be fair, it was very early in the process. Like,
yeah.
And not to excuse what she did. I think what she did to Charity was awful.
Yeah.
But it's just like funny now. Like they're all so upset when they don't get a rose or don't get like a date. And so, but I don't know how much of that Zach saw.
Yeah. It seems like Zach isn't like really there. Like most bachelors, someone will tell him like, oh my gosh, so-and-so just did A, B, C, D, E. And like, they're the drama dishers for The Bachelor. This episode, we saw it super early on with what's her face. I don't even remember her name. The girl that had the first impression rose from America.
Oh, Brianna.
I don't remember her name.
I think that's her name.
# irrelevant. No, she seemed really sweet. And then she was like, yeah, there's no connection with me. And then she like didn't care that she dished the tea. But then also like she also had like made up with Christina. So I'm like, why did you do that to her?
It was very confusing.
Yeah.
It was
anyway.
So take it back to episodes like 2 and 3.
Oh yeah. Let's move on. So anyway, yeah, Ariel.
Yeah, no, I think I don't have a ton of thoughts on Ariel outside of I like her as a person. I don't necessarily see her with Zach.
Yeah, it seems like the connection is a little forced.
Yes.
Versus the other one. So touching on that, what do we think of him and Gabby?
Him and Gabby are my favorite. I think.
Are they?
They
okay.
are. I think she's so likable, so funny. I think that they kind of match each other's energy well. Like,
yeah.
And I don't like, I think she definitely has probably the most personality out of the girls that are left.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think she's the one I think.
She's like fun and exciting to watch because
Yes.
she's never like
Yeah.
stale.
She's funny. I think they share a similar humor. Um and yeah, I think that she's been above the drama most of the time. And yeah, I think there's nothing not to like about.
Yeah. And I like that their connection was like a slow start
Yes.
because she was like super nervous in the beginning.
Hmm.
And then he was like, okay, let me take a shot on you. And then now he's like, whoa, this chick.
It reminded me a lot of, did you watch it would have been Colton season?
Yeah.
Okay, it reminded me a lot of Hannah Brown.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
how like on Colton season she was just like, and granted like Gabby's like this whole process was much shorter. It was like two conversations, like one where she just like was rambling and it
Yeah.
didn't seem to make sense, and the next conversation was great and has been everything's been great since. But it reminded me of like when Colton asked Hannah to give a toast
Oh,
and she like couldn't put words together to like put out a toast. And so when they made her the Bachelorette, I remember being like, are we sure on this? And
yeah.
then she ended up being
Great.
probably my favorite Bachelorette
Yeah.
of all time. Her season
Yeah.
was top tier.
Yeah. She was my favorite. Yeah. No, yeah. I think with Zach and Gabby, I feel like she's gonna go to Fantasy Suites. I'm a little nervous though because so this last episode she brought up like how she was super nervous that she's like, I have ADHD and I have this and I have that, and I'm like, is that a make or break? Like, is that? Have you not noticed like how weird he is?
Yeah. Well, hi, Mama. Do you have something to say?
Featuring Mama.
I do also feel though, like sometimes with The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, part of the, I guess, like flow of the show is people trauma dumping. Like they will come on and it's like everybody needs something. I'm like, if I ever went on to like The Bachelor, I'm like, I don't really have trauma in my life. So I'm like, what did I even talk about these people? Like everybody has like these like really dramatic stories. And like, to be honest with you, I hate one-on-one dates. I get so bored. And I'm like,
and like I just some of the drama or some of like the trauma that they dish out, I'm like, there's 10 girls left, right? Like, that the likelihood that you're going to be the one after this is still slim. And you're telling this man on national TV, like the deepest, darkest secrets just so you can be vulnerable, which is bringing it back to Ariel. Okay. She was like, I think it was like 2 episodes ago. And she was like, I'm really glad like I got vulnerable with him. And it was like surface level, but honestly, like good for her not to dish whatever deep trauma.
Which maybe she doesn't have any.
Like, maybe she.
Is it part of the casting process that they're like, what is the worst thing that's ever happened to you? And if it's not good enough, they don't put you on TV. Like, I do think there are some conversations that are necessary. Like, I do feel like when Brooklyn opened up about her like domestic violence situation, like that is something that's really important if you're trying to like form a relationship with somebody, like a romantic relationship. That they know how, like where you were coming from and how you were treated and things like that. So that I think is, but then I think it was Kat that was talking about how she was like cheated on in a previous relationship, which is like, I guess important, but it was also like,
it was Charity. She was like, I got cheated on like 10 times and I still went back. And I was like, but then she also mentioned something about that she was like emotionally abused about it. But speaking of Charity,
yes,
how do we think their conversation or their connection is going?
I think it is good. I don't know. Maybe it's because I zone out a little bit on one-on-one dates that I'm like, who knows? But I don't know that I really like see them together. I really like her.
Yeah.
I just don't really picture her with
him.
Zach. Like, let's be honest. Zach is like,
she's more of like a Andrew. Or Justin.
Okay.
Ooh, Charity. dip on out now. You have other options.
So many other options. Well,
so many.
Not to
shout out Andrew,
anything, but I have heard some rumors that she is going to be the next
Bachelor.
Bachelorette.
Stop. That's hot piping tea.
I know.
We'll cover that.
Spoiler alert. I don't know.
No, she seems like a genuinely really nice person. I also like I don't know if I see them together. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's like they just don't like their vibes don't match.
Yeah, and I feel like she's so good for him. I feel like, and that's why I like Zach and Gabby, because I think all of the girls are great people and like individuals, and they all deserve the best. But I feel like Gabby's energy and Zach's energy make a lot of
it's almost like
sense.
Gabby like brings him down to reality a little bit, and then like almost like makes him act normal, if that makes sense. And I feel like, let's jump to Katie. I feel like Katie is very much like, I'm just in love with you and I will do whatever you want me to do kind of vibe, even though obviously she's probably not thinking like that, but it seems like she's not bringing herself to the relationship and she's allowing Zach to kind of like lead it.
I don't really know anything about Katie.
She's a nurse from Austin, Texas.
I literally could look at Katie and tell you she's a nurse. Like, that's the least surprising thing I've ever heard in my life. I think she's beautiful. Like, she's stunning. But I also get like really bored with her. And I'm like, and again, like, I don't know. Honestly, how much do I know about any of these people? Like, to be fair,
let's just talk shit.
I know their deepest, darkest secrets, but I know nothing about
about them, actually.
Their actual day-to-day life.
So, with all of that, we've been following Bachelor Nation from the last episode, and like you said, you were shooketh when Kat was sent home. I was shocked. Well, okay, I'm gonna say I was shocked that Brooklyn like left, but it seemed like their date was not going well. Like it seemed like when they were at the
forced,
like
awkward.
When they were at the pool, she was like, it didn't seem like she was in it at all. Like it just seemed like she was like doing it for the camera, and then she was like, "Oh yeah, you're right," and it was just like weird. And immediately I was like, "Oh, she's going home. She's not getting a rose."
No, I got those vibes too. I wasn't really surprised when he didn't give her the rose. Brooklyn was probably one of my favorite girls.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
I feel like I've said this 12,000 times so far. I didn't really see them together. I
didn't
think
either.
Brooklyn will be incredible on Paradise. That's what I always, literally, that's
same. Brooklyn, we'll see you.
Goodbye, but I'm so excited to see you in Mexico this summer. Same with Christina. I think Christina will kill it in Paradise.
Yep, I also think that too. I think Brooklyn, first of all, I think Brooklyn and Christina got off on a bad foot because I thought they were going to be like besties.
I think they're actually more alike than they think that they are. I
think
it was just a weird situation.
Yeah, and I agree. I think they're both going to be in Paradise. Can't wait. But also I loved Brooklyn. Like, just her in general, I loved her. I agree though. Her and Zach did not make a good match, and I feel like, good for them to just part ways. Yeah. Because with the final four left, I think with all these sneak peeks from Hometown, I think it's either going to be him and Katie, or him and Gabby.
Yeah, those would be my top two, because
that's my guess. If I was a betting woman.
1,000%. No, I think it's gonna be so mean, and I'm so sorry. Zach is like a super basic white man.
Yeah.
And I feel like it would only make sense for him to end up with a pretty basic
white girl.
I mean, again, I actually do think Gabby has a lot of personality.
I do too. Yeah.
Katie, I'm not as.
But they're from the same hometown. They might have mutual friends.
No, I think Zach, I think he could choose her, like absolutely. Actually, the
I mean,
thing
they had a
I
museum date.
that was super cute, but also so disappointed on the lack of references to Night at the Museum. Not a
Yeah.
single one. People kept talking about the Ross and Rachel episode. I'm like, no, Night at the Museum.
Yeah.
Why is
Listen, shout out to my husband. I'd also like a date at the museum.
just arrange it. It's easy to do. Just call the museum and say, hey, can I just
have an overnight date?
But like, I don't know. I think we should maybe just touch briefly on how we feel about Zach.
Let's do that.
Okay.
I would never go for Zach. He's not my type. I don't know. Honestly, like when I saw him with Gabby and Rachel, I was like, I did see him with Rachel though.
That would have made sense.
That would have made sense. They were really cute. But now that we get to see Zach in his fullness, basically, now I'm kind of like, I don't know if, I mean, I wouldn't date him. And I think it was best that him and Gabby didn't like have a connection because that would have been really weird. But based on past Bachelors, I think he's like in my top 5.
Yeah.
I think he's a good guy.
I think it's funny because at the beginning of the season, I feel like he came in really strong and he was like not here for the drama and any sniff of drama. He was like, get out. But then it's kind of almost turned into like, oh no, you just don't like hard conversation. Like you just don't like any sort of obstacles. And every time like a girl tries to have a hard conversation with you,
like him and Jess.
Yes, you're instead of being like, okay, like I hear you. Let's sort through these feelings. I'll give you reassurance that you obviously are looking for. And I don't think Jess was like,
I don't think she was asking a lot. I think she was very direct in what she was asking. Even like in her car ride when she left, she was like, I don't get it. And I'm like, girl, I don't get it either. I don't understand. Because he was like, that conversation was like, started off with, I'm so confident about us.
I know.
And then all of a sudden he's like, I think there's a disconnect. And
there's obviously a disconnect that you're just not willing to like work through.
And I just don't know if we can ever get there. And I was like, jaw dropped to the floor. And I was
literally all she was looking for was for him to say, I have been so confident in our connection that I have felt the need to sort out my other connections before taking you on a date.
Yeah.
But it's coming. That's all, like, I guarantee you that is all she was looking for. She knows that somebody has to go last.
Yeah.
But I'm sure in that situation where it's like high pressure, like you feel, sorry, she's so needy. You feel like it means something. It means something different. You get in your own head. You're watching other girls go on dates and just strengthen those connections. And you're like, why am I not getting the chance to do it? I mean, I'm biased because she loves Taylor Swift, and so I love her. But she's also 23.
She's young. Her and Greer. I was like, yo, 23?
So happy.
But I was like, yeah, I agree. That conversation kind of shifted my gears of my view for Zach. And so I'm kind of like,
Also him snapping at Greer was weird.
Oh yeah, when she compared the COVID situation, that was weird.
Bro, she was just trying to relate. She was just trying to be like,
this is where I think his like lack of communication sets in.
Yeah.
This is probably why he was still single, ladies. Is because he like you're saying, he doesn't like those hard conversations. He wants everything to be like easy peasy and like never have to deep dive. And it's like,
well, and I think in the beginning when you're dealing with like drama in the house, which is why I think a lot of people were applauding him, it's like, yeah, that's easy to do because that's drama that's not like directly involved with you. But then when you get down to like, final 6 where you're actually having these like one-on-one conversations and the drama is less about what's happening in the house and more about your compatibility with somebody else, it becomes a lot more apparent that it wasn't ever about the drama. Because I as much as I appreciate. Well, first of all, as a viewer, I didn't appreciate him just sending people home when there was drama. I'm like,
Oh
keep
yeah.
around a villain, you
Yeah.
idiot. That's what makes the show. I mean, it's been a good season, and I feel like after one villain leaves, somebody else becomes
It was
unlikable.
just it actually threw me off because him and Christina were so great.
Strong, and he didn't even like.
And then
hesitate.
he didn't give her the time of day to
No.
explain. He
Right.
was
She was
just
a
like
hot mess trying to like.
well, she was drunk. I was like, can you like wait till it's like maybe the next day to
Yeah.
address this? Like, obviously you're having this pool
Yeah.
party at the mansion. Next time, please invite us. And I was like, the girl is drunk.
Mhm.
She doesn't know what she's saying right now. She's
Yeah.
obviously emotional, and whatever the hell her name is started all this mess
Mhm.
because she didn't have a connection with you.
Mhm.
And the fact that you had this like strong connection and then you didn't even give her the time of day to explain like what happened. You just
Yeah.
believed someone who was exiting.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. So Zach, I didn't like it. But so tonight, one of the final episodes, Hometowns, is airing.
Mhm.
Did you guess the final four correctly? I did. Shout out.
I mean, from like the beginning or from like the last couple of episodes?
The last couple of episodes.
Yeah, I think my only surprise is Ariel. But
And yeah, Ariel
I think
and
I
Kat.
could solidly, I don't think had like, oh, these four are like my final four, but I think it's not a surprise to me
Yeah.
that Gabby, Katie, or Charity
I think
are there.
Yeah, and I think I kind of noticed things were falling off with Kat after their witch
Mhm.
seance thing.
What weird dates we've had.
Yeah. I think that's when things were like kind of dropping off, and then he mentioned it to her, and she was like, "What? No, not us."
Yeah.
And then that's where I was like, "Oh, it's starting to like dip."
Decline.
And him and Ariel were getting so strong,
Yeah.
and then, like I said, Brooklyn was a little bit of a shock, but the way that date was going, I was like, "Oh, homegirl's going home."
Yeah.
I see you at the rodeo. But I was like, oh, okay. But I don't know. I guessed the final four correctly, but now I'm like, how are hometowns going to be now that everyone's back with their families and they get to be like their true
Natural
self?
habitat. Yeah.
So we'll touch on that in the next episode.
Sounds good.
But do you have any last minute things you want to say?
In regards
Zach,
to
get it
how
together.
The season is gone. Yeah. I will say this. I felt like thus far, this has felt, for the first time in a very long time, like just a normal season of The Bachelor.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like there's been any like crazy twist or The Bachelor acting a damn fool, because that has been a theme. I mean, you had like the last Bachelor was
Matt,
Clay-
I think. Oh no,
Clayton.
Peter.
No, Peter was like 3 Bachelors ago. It was Clayton.
I didn't watch Clayton's season.
Good. It was a mess. Well, last Bachelorette, we had the 2 Bachelorettes, and that
was a mess too.
failed.
Bravo, get it together. You can't do
Again,
that.
it's not Bravo. It's on ABC.
I mean,
We've had this discussion. Okay, when I said we were aware that it's not on Bravo, I meant I was aware.
the bees getting me confused.
Yeah, but yeah, I feel like sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Normal Bachelor season.
Yeah, it's been a fairly like smooth ride as far as like I feel like we're gonna get like a proposal at the end. I feel like it's gonna go like
really well.
Crazy changes, but yeah, like Peter's season was a hot mess.
Yeah.
Matt's season was a hot mess. Like it's been. Mama, just calm down. Go lay down.
Yeah, it has been like pretty normal, and it's been like easy to follow. There's like you're saying, there's not like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. It's like it's pretty
standard.
Yeah,
just
I don't
like
want
Zach. Safe and expected.
Well, anyway, that's on that note. So that's kind of a recap of like the season and the last episode. In the next episode, we're going to touch base on hometowns, what we think is going to happen. We're going to try and predict the future like Zach's last group date.
Yeah.
But if you liked this video and you want to see more of us talking about Bravo and ABC, click the subscribe button and turn on the notifications. And thanks for hanging out with the B team. And we will see you in the next episode. Bye.